If you're constantly controlled by your emotions, you will never learn how to be successful in your life. You need to have the appropriate strategies in place so that your emotions aren't running rampant. Because if you're constantly in reaction mode to your emotions, you will always succumb to them. You will always feel powerless in life and you'll just never progress and get anywhere. So, emotional regulation, learning how to control your emotions, truly is one of the best skills that you can learn for yourself. Because let's be honest, it sucks being controlled by our emotions. When you feel sadness, automatically reacting to it. When you feel anger, automatically yelling or being angry at the other person and ruining your relationships. When you feel frustrated, right, not moving forward with your work, or when you feel self doubt show up, not learning how to manage that and control that, and then staying in this like paralyzed place, unable to go forward. All these different emotions are causing you to do different things, and in no areas of your life do you feel like you have control because anytime your emotion shifts, you just lose all control of yourself and you lose yourself in that emotion. So let's take that power and control back. And I'm going to give you some easy, simple steps today that you can start doing that. Number one is that I want you to start seeing your emotions differently. Your emotions are signposts, they are indicating to you that something is off in your life. And that's how you need to start seeing your emotions. So, for example, if you're sad, what is your sadness trying to tell you? What is that need your body is telling you should be fulfilled because you're feeling this sadness? What about anger? If you're feeling anger, is it because maybe you didn't speak up and say what you needed to say in that moment and you lost yourself in the other person? Or do you feel like a boundary has been crossed and you need someone else to respect that boundary? So, do you see how those emotions are constantly giving you those signs as to something is off in your life? And that's how you need to start seeing them. Emotions itself aren't a bad thing, it's how you're reacting to your emotions and how you relate to them that ends up sometimes being a bad thing and affecting you negatively. See your emotions as your friends, as a good thing, because when we have these emotional highs and lows, our body is constantly telling us how it needs to be supported at all times. And if you just get quiet enough, you will get the answers that you need. So start tuning in and seeing what emotions are you experiencing and asking yourself, what is the need that needs to be fulfilled during this time? And that's going to completely change the game for you. The other thing to add into this is that you need to make sure that your nervous system is regulated. Because if you're constantly in that stress state all day long, where you're just acting on automatic, you're just jumping from one activity to the next, what's actually starting to happen is that you are on automatic. And that means that you're going to be in reactive mode all the time. And we want to get you out of reactive mode and into conscious mode. And the way that you do that is you support your nervous system. So that means all throughout the day, taking deep breaths, going on walk, doing things that actually calm you down and turn on that calm nervous system in your body instead. Vagus nerve stimulating activities can be really well. So this looks like talking, laughing, gargling. This is also why food makes us feel really calm and relaxed, because when we eat, it activates our vagus nerve and then we start to feel really good. And so just do any sort of activity that helps you relax all throughout the day. What I'll do as I transition from one activity to the next, I'll take 2 to 3 deep breaths and I'll set the intention of the version of myself that I want to show up as. So, for example, before I started recording YouTube videos for the day, I took 2 to 3 deep breaths and I set the intention to show up as the best online educator that I could be for myself on these videos so that I can give as much value to you as possible. And when we set these intentions, it regulates your nervous system and empowers you to show up in a powerful way. And what's going to start to happen is that if you start to feel, sad or upset or angry during that moment of time you set the intention for, it's so much easier for you to be able to catch it, be aware of it, and not necessarily have to react to it because you took a moment before to regulate and calm your nervous system response down, and that is the power of it. You also need to make sure that you are feeding yourself right if you want to stop being controlled by your emotions. So many of us, we are insulin resistant, our blood sugars dysregulated, and if you all day long are having these giant blood sugar peaks and crashes, what's starting to happen is that you're not going to be able to really control your emotions at all because your body is in a very dysregulated state. If your hormones are dysregulated and all over the place, good luck trying to have control over your emotions. If you are inflamed, if your gut isn't working well. So all of these things are going to make an impact and effect on your ability to control your emotions. And that's why if you learn to feed your body the right food, so making sure you're getting your protein, making sure you're getting your vegetables, what's going to happen is that you're actually giving your body the tools it needs to build all your feel-good hormones, neurotransmitters, so that you can actually think properly. Think clearly. You can have energy. You can have room to actually put your body in that parasympathetic state, that calm nervous system state, so that you can feel good. Feeding yourself the right foods is going to be so critical if you want to have control over your emotions, because if your vessel is unhealthy, you will have zero control over your mind. The last piece that I'm going to add into this that becomes really important is making sure that you're also giving yourself an opportunity to sit with your feelings. So many of us feel like we have no control over our emotions because we freak the F out when we experience our emotions. And I want you to understand that your emotions aren't bad. And the more that you avoid feeling your emotions, the more that you distract yourself, numb yourself, and push these feelings down, the worse that it's ultimately going to make you feel. So you really need to make sure, like, you need to get comfortable with your emotions. This is going to be such an important key to no longer be controlled by them, because if you always fear your emotions, if you're always scared of them, if you don't like feeling anything but happy, what's going to happen is that anytime you feel anything but happy, that emotion is going to control you. It's going to have power over you because you freak out. And what you've told your brain is that these emotions are too dangerous, too scary for me to actually feel in this moment. So it's so important that you actually learn to sit with your feelings. And I think this is such a great skill for you to have in general, because think about all the things that you're doing in your life right now because you just can't sit with your feelings. Maybe you are, watching Netflix way more than you need to. Maybe you're doom scrolling. Maybe you're turning towards alcohol or weed or some other drug to cope with your emotion better. Maybe you're turning towards food. Maybe you're overworking yourself because you can't deal with your emotions. You probably have some sort of dysfunctional pattern that you're implementing in your life as a way to cope with your emotions instead of learning to actually just sit with the pain, sit with the uncomfortableness of it. Because even if you just give yourself permission to sit with it, your emotion will have way less control over you, and your relationship with it will change, and you'll prove to your brain this isn't scary and that we can handle this. So this was a little bit of a quickie video on just tips on how to not be controlled by your emotions. Comment and let me know below which tip you are going to implement and start working on in your life.